Okay, so you folks have sent us another case to take a deep dive into.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it's a tough one. It seems like we're dealing with a possible child abduction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all we have to work with is this short video clip.
Okay.
So the question is, can we actually learn anything useful from just this small piece of evidence?
Yeah, that's always the challenge, right? Trying to find those little
Right.
those breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs, yeah, exactly.
Just follow.
So let's jump right in and see what we can uncover.
I like it.
All right, so the clip, it shows a witness being asked about, well, the woman that they believe took the child.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, there's this thing that really jumps out at her.
Okay.
So they ask the witness, and this is in Malayalam, do you remember the face of the woman who stole your child?
Right.
And the witness says, I don't remember the face, but she was wearing a green chiffon sari, a diamond-studded bangle, and a gold watch. Like, how do you forget the face of someone who took your child, but remember all those details?
That's a really good question, and I think it's one of those things that seems really strange at first,
Right.
but it might not be as uncommon as you might think, especially when you're talking about these really high stress,
Right.
Traumatic situations.
Yeah,
like
right.
our brains, they kind of have this way of prioritizing survival.
Right.
And sometimes that means focusing on things that might seem a little irrelevant
Interesting.
or odd later on.
So you're saying that, like, their brain might have just focused on those details because it was just too much to...
Yeah, I think that's a possibility, right? It's like the brain saying, okay, we can't deal with the face right now. Too much, too overwhelming. Let's just hold on to these other things.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about those details, right?
Yeah.
We have the green chiffon sari, the diamond bangle, and the gold watch.
Right.
Could any of these actually help us find this woman?
They absolutely could.
Yeah.
Let's take the sari, for instance, a green chiffon sari. I mean, they're not exactly rare.
Right.
But the specific shade of green, the pattern, those things could be significant.
How so?
Well, in India, certain sari designs, they can be unique to a particular region, sometimes even to a specific family.
Wow.
So imagine if this sari had a distinctive pattern or weave
Right.
that could, maybe be traced back to a particular village or community. That would really narrow things down.
I never thought about it that way, yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's a good point.
It's amazing how, sometimes these seemingly ordinary details can be so revealing.
Right.
And then there's the jewelry. The jewelry's interesting.
Yeah, what about that? What could that tell us?
Well, jewelry can be really valuable in these investigations.
Okay.
A diamond bangle, for example, could be a family heirloom.
Oh, okay.
It could be, a custom-made piece.
Right.
So investigators, they might be able to trace it, through jewelers, maybe even pawn shops.
Right.
And the gold watch, too, that could tell us something.
Really?
Yeah. Depending on the brand, the style, it might give us a clue about the woman's her socioeconomic status, maybe even her age.
Wow.
It's all about putting the pieces together.
Okay, so we've got these details, that seem small but could actually be huge clues.
Right.
But wouldn't someone who's abducting a child, wouldn't they try to not wear anything that would stand out?
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Right.
But the thing is, we just don't know the circumstances of this abduction, right?
Right.
It might not have been planned in a very detailed way. Or maybe this woman, she just didn't realize how important these details could be.
Right.
It's hard to say for sure.
So, okay, so we've got these details, and they could be really important, but where do we go from here? Like, if you were leading this investigation, what would you do?
Well, first things first, I want to make sure the witness's account is accurate.
Okay.
Can anyone else back up what they remember?
Right.
Was there any CCTV footage that might have caught a glimpse of this woman?
Okay.
Then I'd really start digging into these specifics,
Yes.
I'd talk to experts on textiles, see if they can pinpoint where that sari might have come from.
Right.
I'd check with jewelers, pawnbrokers, about the bangle and the watch. And of course, we'd have to look into whether this woman might have done something like this before.
Okay.
It's all about following the trail.
It's incredible how much we can figure out from from just these little things, right?
Yeah.
But there's still this big question mark about why the witness can't remember the woman's face.
Right. Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's definitely the biggest mystery here, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, as we talked about, it could be a trauma response.
Right.
But there are other possibilities, too.
Okay.
Maybe the witness, they just didn't get a clear look at her face.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a veil or the lighting was bad and this is a bit unsettling to think about.
Right.
It's possible the witness is holding something back.
Okay.
Maybe they're not telling us everything. It's a thought we can't ignore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something to consider.
It's why these investigations are so complex. We've
Right.
got to sort through all these layers of information.
Right.
Consider different angles and be ready for the unexpected.
That's true.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
With some pieces missing and others that don't seem to fit.
So it seems like we're ending this deep dive with more questions than answers, but we do have some possible leads to follow.
We do.
It really shows how even a small bit of evidence
Right.
can give us clues if we know how to look at it.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show how important every detail can be, no
Right.
matter how small.
Yeah.
So I guess the question for all of you listening is, if you were to keep digging into this case, where would you start? What other information would you want to find to really understand what happened here? Because sometimes even the tiniest things can make all the difference.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, those little details, they can be the key.
Absolutely.
That unlocks the whole mystery.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes open and keep those questions coming.
And thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.